So, good morning, and very nice to see you, at least to see some of you. As I mentioned before, and I will keep saying it, meditation is a practice that has many possibilities. And I recommend you to find one possibility, one that you like, and to try to make that one something that you can do every day. Even if you can do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. But try to keep one practice and focus on that practice. Maybe you can do the practice, let's say, for a month, and then you can change something. That's okay. But in these Wednesday meditations, I am always bringing something new, or sometimes I'm bringing something new, but you don't have to do that. That's just, I just want to present different possibilities of what meditation can do. But I don't recommend you to do that. I recommend you to find one that you like and then do that one for a while, or have one form of the meditation and try to go deeper and deeper into that one form. For example, today we will do a very different meditation from what we did before. And I will recommend you to, if you like this one, to go deeper into this one. This one, it will be just like just at the surface. We can go much deeper into the meditation that we will do today and go into much different possibilities. So, but this is with everything, not just with meditation. It's so important to go deeper into any subject that you're interested. The problem with us, especially now in this time, is that we have so much information about so many things, but we don't go deep into most of that information. So the information remains at the level of, I know it, but knowing is not enough. It has to become mine. It has to become my understanding, not Carlos' understanding or a Buddhist understanding or somebody else's understanding. It has to become my thing. And the only way to do that is to go deep into one particular subject. For example, with my book, I always said my book has so many ideas, but it's fine to read the whole book once, but then choose one of these ideas and go deeper into that idea. So it's not anymore Carlos's idea, it becomes your idea, your understanding, your own. That's the only way to really that's the only way to go. Okay, so the meditation I want to do today is about peace. But we did a meditation about peace last week, but today I want to bring a completely different view of it. One way to see peace is to find harmony. So the meditation I want to do today is how do we find harmony? What is this harmony? So for the one that never did it before, I will have a short introduction about the meditation, and then we will go into the meditation. Not everybody likes that, but I find it very important to have an understanding before we go into the meditation. Even the most famous form of meditation, which is the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the Ashtanga Yoga, meditation itself, Patanjali's 8 steps, and meditation starts with the 6th step. So you have to go through many things before you come into meditation. So anyway, how do we find harmony? That will be the question to ask. How do we find harmony? And usually, like between people, it's very hard to find harmony. Like you have two people, and then you put two people together for a little bit, and very soon, if they don't talk, maybe you find some harmony, but if they start talking, very soon you will find some disharmony. One person will have one idea, another person will have another idea. So actually, one way to think of this harmony is as a conflict with each other. So it's very hard to find harmony outside. So then we look for harmony inside, but imagine if you go to an empty island and you stay in the empty island, how long do you think the harmony is going to last? Not very long. We have so many craziness in our mind. So there are two places only. There is outside and there is inside. Outside is very hard to find harmony. Inside, it's very hard to find harmony. Now, the difference is that very few people really can change the outside world. There are some people that can do something, but very few people can really change the outside world. But with some good effort, with some good desire, we can do something about finding harmony inside. So there is no harmony inside, but with we could find it with effort. And that's what's one thing I want to bring into this, into the meditation, how to find this harmony inside. So one way to think about harmony inside and is alignment between what I say, what I think, and what I do. I'm going to send you this. I would like to copy this, and I would like to put it in, just for you to see it in the chat. I will put it in the chat. Alignment between what I say, think, and do. And for most people, there is a complete lack of alignment between what I say, what I do, and what I think. I don't know. I'm thinking of a very simple example. For example, you are with your spouse, and you see that it has, or with a friend or something, and you see that your friend has what for you is a horrible dress. You think in your mind, oh, this person has a horrible dress. What should you do? Should you say it? So if you want harmony between what I think, what I say, and what I do, then if in my mind I think that the person has a horrible dress, then I should say it. That will be harmony. But what about instead of thinking that way, what about if you say, well, who am I to criticize? Why do I think that I know better than this other person? So the harmony is not between, in this case, the harmony should not be between my thought and what I say, but the harmony should be between what I say and my thought. Meaning, I need to have the enough wisdom to understand who am I to criticize another person. Maybe I can say, well, it's not really what I think is the best, but to say it's horrible is a very, anyway, that's one way to see this harmony between, nice to see you, this harmony between what I think, what I do, and what I say. But anyway, that's we can say that's a different subject, or that's another way to go. But what I would like to bring is, sometimes it feels a bit difficult to think about what I say, what I think, and what I do. But what about if we make alignment between my values and my behavior? I think this makes it easier. Let me send you this too. Just like this. So to have alignment between my values and my behavior. For example, I heard of a story that there was a man, it was in an Indian story, but there was a man that he was not eating meat. And he said he will never try meat and he will never eat any meat. And he said that that's because he had a very high value for non-violence. And he felt that if he ate meat, he was part of the violence that we bring to animals. But then the story is that apparently this person that was so proud of not eating meat, he was a very harsh person with his family. His family was very scared of him. And so there was a very clear disharmony between his value, the value for non-violence, and his action. His family was suffering because of his violence towards them. So it's very important to discover our values and then bring our values into our everyday life, because when we don't do that, we suffer. We suffer because our values is what brings meaning into our life. Everybody's looking for the meaning in life, but the meaning in life is the applying of my values. This is something that we don't hear so often, or maybe you heard it, but the meaning in my life, or at least a large part of the meaning in my life, is to have a harmony with my values. If I live with my values, then my life has meaning. My life is I feel my life is going in the right direction. When I know my values, at least we all know what our values are. Sometimes they are hidden, but when I go against my values, there is a friction in my mind, and this friction creates an enormous amount of suffering, even if I don't notice. We cover that suffering. Usually we cover the suffering with overworking, with relationships, with food, with having fun. We cover that suffering. But it's a sense of lack of self-respect that many times that happens. So how do we bring this harmony between my values and my behavior? And one way is to have models. But you know that in our society, we don't have the right models. Or the models of our society usually are rock stars that are their life are a complete mess, or Hollywood stars where their life also are a complete mess. There is very, very few role models that we can look at. For example, there is a story which I love very much from Gandhi. You know Gandhi from India. He had a very high value for equanimity. Equanimity for him was a very, very important value. And there was one time that he was living with several people moved into a house, and because he wanted so much this equanimity, he said that everybody should clean the toilets. Everybody should clean the toilets. And in India there is this caste, and there were many Brahmins living there, and they were completely shocked. I cannot clean the bathroom. I'm never going to do that. And so to show that, he himself he was the first one that started to clean the bathrooms. So that's just an example of living with your values, applying your values. His value was equanimity, and he did everything he could to follow his value into the practical life. So one way to to learn to apply, to have our values together with our behavior is to think of models, to have models, to have to think of people that can do that. That's one way. And the second way is to increase our sensitivity towards the moments in which our behavior is not in alignment with my values. Is to bring alertness, to bring a kind of to be more aware of the moments when my values are not in harmony with my behavior, to see it in my mind. So these two things, models and to be more aware of my lack of harmony between my values and my behavior. So these are the two things that we're going to do now in the meditation. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I would like to do, just for a couple of minutes, kind of a pre-meditation. I would like you to think about some values. But because there are so many values, for example, I look in one site and there was 102 values. So I thought to bring some values that we all have. So I would like you to think of these values and try to choose one for the meditation. So I just send it to you, but think of, I think a value that we all have: peace, the value for peace, the value for kindness, the value for goodness. Goodness, I like to think of, I think a better word is dharma. But dharma, not everybody knows what it means, so goodness can be a good word. Wisdom, friendship, forgiveness, gratitude, patience. Choose one of these values for yourself, for the meditation. Just take a few seconds. If you find another value in your mind, use that value, but choose one value, something that you really, really, really would like in your life. Peace, kindness, goodness, wisdom, friendship, forgiveness, gratitude, patience. Just take a few seconds. Think. Take a few seconds for you. Choose one value. Something you can see that is really very important for you. Choose one, only one, for the sake of this meditation. Okay, so try to keep that value in your mind. Now we start the meditation per se. So if you want to sit in a comfortable position, keep your spine long, open the chest. Keep your neck long, soften your face. Try to keep your hands in a comfortable place. They can be together on your lap, or they can be on top of your knees with the palms down or the palms up. But try to keep your hands in a comfortable place. Close your eyes. And just for a few moments, simply connect to this moment. Just bring attention to this moment. And pay attention to this moment. For example, start to notice the sounds that you hear around you. When you close your eyes, the ears becomes our most stronger sense for most people. Like when the eyes are open, most of the energy goes into what we see. And so all the other senses becomes secondary. But when we close the eyes, then the ears often, not always, becomes the strongest sense. Just let it surface. Hear the sounds. But start, as you hear the sounds, don't think about the sounds that you hear. Try not to think about the sounds that you hear, but try to simply hear the sounds without adding an idea or a thought or a comment or a critique about those sounds. Start to notice your breathing. Just simply notice the air coming in and notice the air going out. Often because we don't breathe deep enough, when the attention is coming to the breath, then the need to take a deeper breath appears. Is that the case? Then it's perfectly right. Let it come. And then just simply start to breathe gently. Notice the air coming in, notice the air going out. Notice the air coming in, notice the air going out. And try to focus on the breath. If your mind is very active, if you haven't been practicing meditation or these kind of things for a while, you will see your mind is very active. You will be thinking about your problems, your family, your money, your health, what you're going to do afterwards, your work. There will be so many thoughts. It's not a problem. Just bring the mind back into the breathing. 1 time, 10 times, 100 times. It's not a problem. You are not supposed to have a quiet mind. I will repeat that. You are not supposed to have a quiet mind. You are supposed to have the mind that you have in this particular moment. Some of you, the minds are more quiet. Some of you, the minds are very not quiet. That's okay. Just simply bring the mind back into the breathing. And for example, just doing this can be a whole meditation. You don't have to do anything else. You can just sit for 5 minutes, for example, and just simply follow the breath for 5 minutes. And if you could do that every day, that will be a great thing. Just that. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Just following the breath. That's all. And every time the mind gets out, you bring the mind back. And again, the mind goes out, you bring it back. We did that meditation before, and we will do it again. But right now, this is the meditation we are doing. Simply bring the mind back into the breathing. That's all. And if your mind gets distracted, it's not a problem. If you think it's a problem, then not only the mind got lost in one thing, then it gets lost also in thinking that it is a problem. It's not a problem. Just bring the mind back into the moment. And the moment right now is your breathing. The air coming in, the air going out. I read a quote that somebody sent me yesterday that says, every snowflake falls always perfectly in the right place. A thought is like a snowflake. It has to happen. If it happens, because it has to happen. Now, return to the breath. That also has to happen. Return to the breath. That's another snowflake. Return to the moment. Every thought is a snowflake and is perfectly on its own right. But then the thoughts bring the mind back into the breath. That's also a snowflake. And that's also perfectly right. There is nowhere else to do. There is not another place to go. There is nothing else to do. Just simply pay attention to your breathing. The air coming in, the air going out. When you find your mind lost in some thought, just simply bring it back. If you find tension in your body, relax the tension. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing else to do. Just simply follow your breath. Remember that no snowflake falls in the wrong place. Bring the mind back. That's all we need to do. The air coming in, the air going out. Just bring the mind back. Stay with the breathing. Stay with the air coming in and the air going out. But now we're going to start using the mind. Within that space that is created in the mind, bring into mind the one value that you chose before. One value. Just bring it into your mind. And try to see it in all its glory. Try to develop that value in your mind. Try to go deep into the understanding, the seeing of that particular value. What does it mean, that value? What is that value? How does it express that value? Why is the value valuable? Try to keep the connection with your breathing, and at the same time, just bring that value into your mind. But it's not just thinking about it. It's more like an image in your heart about that value. It's like a flowering of that value in your mind. So it's not just bringing words about that value. It's more like bringing the whole life of that value. It's going deep into that value. See it in your mind. Feel it in your mind. Sense it in your mind. Touch it in your mind. and keep it in your mind. Once you have it, just see it clearly, connect to it. It's like if you clothe yourself in that value, like if you become that value. Now, come back to the breathing. Just spend a few seconds only noticing the breath. The air coming in and the air going out. Forget about everything else. Just simply connect to your breathing. There is only a sensation of the inhalation. There is only the sensation of the exhalation. Now, try to see in your mind moments that you haven't been connected with that value in your everyday life. Try to see moments when you have not followed that value without criticism. Like if you're watching a movie, like if you're watching a character in a movie and that character has a particular value, and for whatever reason, that character did not follow that value. Just see it in your mind. Not as something right or wrong, as something that just happened. For example, if you choose peace for a value, see a moment when you have created war. See a moment when you have created disturbance. See a moment when, for whatever reason, you couldn't hold on to your value of peace and instead you created war or disturbance. Or just see a moment like that. Be aware of it. But like if you're watching a movie, there is no criticism, there is no judgment. There is only the fact of what is. This is what happened. Just be aware of it. Notice it, feel it. Just bring awareness into that fact. That's all. Bring light into that fact. You have a particular value, and in that particular moment, that value did not align. That value was not taken into consideration. Just see it. See it in your heart. Now, just for a moment, come back into the breathing. Just simply forget everything else. Just simply return to the breath. The air coming in and the air going out. Just focus. Focus on the inhalation and focus on the exhalation. Notice the air coming in. Notice the air going out. Now, one last thing, and then we will finish the meditation. One last thing. Try to find in your mind a role model for that value. Think of somebody that has that value developed to its highest potential. Try to see a possibility of a perfect model for that value. How will that work? And if you cannot find a role model for that value, and as I said, we don't have those models in our society, create a situation in your mind in which you are following that value, but especially under difficult conditions. Meaning when the temptation it is to go in the other direction. Try to create a little movie. If you can find a role model, that's much more helpful. Like for example, the example that I gave you of Gandhi following the value of equanimity. If you find that, keep that in your mind. Just see it. See the beauty of it. See the depth of it. And if you cannot find the role model, then create for yourself, create a situation in your mind in which you are following that value, especially under critical, under difficult conditions. And a difficult condition is simply when there is a temptation to go the other direction, when it will be easier to do not to follow that value. Just see it in your mind. But just try to create a picture and then bathe yourself in that picture. Like if that picture is a pool, and then you jump into that pool. You don't have to keep thinking about it. Just create that image in your mind and then dive into that picture. It could be something very, very simple. Very, very practical. Just see it in your mind. Don't think about it. See it, feel it, swim in it. It's like let it flourish in your mind. It's like a painting in your mind. these values is really what brings meaning into our life. It's what brings peace into our life. It's what brings harmony into our lives. The harmony is not outside. It is in our hearts. And harmony is the alignment between my values and my behavior. Simply to do what I know is right. Come back into the breathing. Forget about everything else. Just for the next minute, 1 more minute, just simply come back into the breath. Notice the air coming in and the air going out. And just simply allow more air to come in, allow more air to go out. Just take a deeper inhalation. Let more air to go out, and very slowly start to move your arms, start to move your shoulders, move a little bit your head. And when you're ready, if you want to open your eyes, stretch your arms, stretch a bit your body, move a bit your wrist. I don't know if you can see me because of I'm full of light. I have to say that maybe it was too long, the meditation. I mean, I think it's wonderful to make it so long, but maybe for some of you, it's too difficult to make it so long. Maybe I should have do it a bit shorter and make the whole thing but shorter. I'm sorry for it. Anyway, I know it has its value to make it long, but also I know that it can be too difficult to make it so long. So anyway, it is how it is. If you have some comments or questions right now, you can write them in the chat, or if you want to say something, please say it. Thank you, Sibyl. It is a wonderful way to start the day. If we can bring these images into what we really value in the morning, first thing in the morning, what is that we really value, and see ourselves following that value, creating this picture in our mind. But what is that we really value, not what society values. That's what many people do. They try to follow the values that society values. But what do we value? What do I value? Sometimes it's very different. Often it's very different. Actually, I would like to send you, there is a website. You have to sign up into this website, but I did it, and it's very wonderful. It gives you a kind of an idea of which ones are your values. It's asking than 20 questions, not always easy to answer, but they ask you many questions, and then you have to answer the question. Very simple, you have 5 possibilities. It takes about 10-15 minutes. It just gives you an idea of which values you have. I enjoy it quite a bit. I send it to you in the chat. You don't have to do it, but it takes 15 minutes or so, and you may enjoy it. It's for free. You don't have to pay for it. And I did it myself, and I thought it was, it helped. Thank you, Shirley, and very nice to know that you're there. Alexandra said that she did that, what the value, and she recommended too. I'm glad you did it, Alexandra. So if you have anything else, any comments or questions, thank you, Raluca, for being here. Okay, maybe next week we will do the same thing in YouTube. We'll see if it's more available for people than Zoom. I'm just trying different possibilities.
Maybe okay. It's also
thank you very much. Very nice to have you here. I don't know if you say something, Sibyl. I didn't hear you.
No, it's okay.
No, okay. Okay. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Have a very nice day, and maybe I see you tonight. Tonight there will be an event, the Presence event. Maybe see you there, some of you. Thank you, Sabrina.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a very nice day,
everybody. Bye. Bye.